Hello YouTube friends and viewers and subscribers. This is a piece of fluorite. It's not used a lot for gemstones because of its softness, which is 4 on the Mohs scale. And it's not a real brilliant gemstone. In fact, its refractive index is like a 1.44. But still, it can be a challenge for me because it's hard to cut and polish correctly and successfully, I should say, because it has perfect cleavage like a diamond, four ways perfect cleavage. So you can be cutting and the stone can just break off into 4 pieces. So I've got to be very careful how I cut it. And you can see from this side, it's pretty clear, color-free I should say, but then when you turn the stone, you see these zones of purple banding. They come and go. So that's another thing I've got to try to deal with. I'm not sure if I should try to orient it so the purple is going to show up and dominate the stone's color, or just cut it as is and don't worry about any orientation and see how the stone turns out. But anyway, this crystal system on this stone is the octahedral crystal group, just as, like I said, as a diamond. And spinel is also the same way. Come out of the ground just like that. So what I will do is grind off a flat spot for my table, attach my dop stick to it, and then I'll get started cutting. And what I'm going to use to cut this is this hexagon shape, hexangular it's called. Hopefully I'm successful with this. I've never cut this before, but it doesn't look very difficult really. And I'm not really looking for a very brilliant stone because, like I said, fluorite just doesn't have it. It's a 1.4 refractive index, so it's not going to be something that's really got a lot of bling to it and a lot of brilliance and fire, so but that's okay. I just want to give it a shot. I may fail even, who knows. Alrighty, I'm going to grind its flat spot like I said and get this dopped up, and I'll use faceting wax to dop it. Some of this brown faceting wax, I think it's Lico brand. Anyway, I get it from Rock Peddler, the lapidary dealer here in the United States. And a piece goes quite a ways. Like this piece was about this long when it was new, and I think I've used this at least 6 or 8 months probably. Because I use the epoxy glue and super glue also. But a lot of times I like to start with this and use it to begin with. If it's not a heat sensitive stone, then if it is, of course I have to refrain from using the wax and heating up the stone. Like I just finished opal. I just finished this opal and I did a video, you could see it. And I did have to use glue, no hot dopping wax on it, and it turned out good. So alright, I'll get started on this and get it dopped and ready to go. Alright, I'm cutting the girdle facets at 90 degrees. So far so good with this gemstone. And I'm using a 600 grit cutting lap because it is soft. It's 4 on the Mohs hardness scale, so I don't need to be real aggressive with it. Alright, I'm doing some pre-polishing on these girdle facets, and I'm already having some issues with the cleavage of this stone. And like I've said, it's got 4-way perfect cleavage, just like diamonds do. And you can see here, I've got a cleavage line that's formed right across here. So I don't know if it's going to break apart there or not. But and on this side I've got something trying to form too. So I'm going to try to using a 3000 grit lap here. I'm trying to go easy on this and keep it holding together. So I'll keep continuing here. Alright, I'm getting there. Got the second tier of facets done. And after this tier, I'm going to move to the third and final tier. It's still holding together, but I don't know for how long the stone will hold together. And I've changed to cutting on a 3000 metal bonded plated lap, which cuts more aggressively than the resin bonded one I was using just a few minutes ago. It was too slow using the resin bonded lap. The cutting was just taking too long. This cuts very quickly because the softness of the fluorite, you can just if you're not paying attention, you can just burn right through the facet and have to go back and recut everything. So you got to be careful. Starting that facet right there. Okay, I managed to get the third tier finished. So onward to the final polish using 60,000 grit diamond on a bat lap, which is not zinc, it's a tin lap. And we'll see if this thing will hold together until I can get it transferred, but I think the real problem in cutting and having this stone hold together will be cutting the crown. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold together and stand the pressure of cutting the crown. But we will see. I'm giving this my best shot, you know. This is final polishing. So far I'm doing okay. Stone's still holding together. And I'm on the last tier of the 3 tiers, polishing those. The gemstone's completely polished. And it went off pretty good without a hitch, I could say. But the hard part lies ahead when I have to transfer the stone and use some heat to break the wax bond here. I have to remove that wax, so remove the stone from the wax, and I have to melt that wax, so that could be tricky. I hope the heat doesn't cause a problem with some cleavage here. Anyway, it's on to the transfer next. Okay, I've put the stone in the transfer jig, put a cone dop in the other end of it, and brought it down and epoxied it onto the gemstone. So I'll let that dry overnight, and I'll start on the crown tomorrow or maybe the day after. I don't know. I've got some stuff to do here. Okay, I've just heated this dop here. I heated using the alcohol lamp, and it released from the stone with no problems. So I'll get started on trying to cut the crown of this stone. I'm going to go careful, maybe it'll hold together. I just finished the second row of facets, and the stone's still holding together, but I've got this one trouble spot right here. This area right there, that's really worrying me that that's just going to break off. So I'm going really careful in this area. So it'll be a miracle if that doesn't cleave off right there. But I'll continue. I'm using an 8000 lap to pre-polish. Everything's looking good. I'm going on around that first row of facets there. Okay, I've made it through the pre-polishing. So the last step is the final polishing, and then I do have to cut the table facet, so hopefully I can get through this. I'm really surprised it stayed together and this one section hasn't broken away. But that's how we look right now. Okay, I've finished polishing the crown facets and ready to move to cut the table now. I've got my adapter in the machine here, and we'll get started here. And I'm cutting with a 3000 plated lap topper disc, because this, once again, this is fluorite and it's so soft. I can easily cut with a 3000 grit lap, no problem at all. Alright, I'll continue cutting and polishing and finishing this up. I believe it's going to hold together. Okay, here we have a finished gemstone. The last step is taking it off the dop stick. I have to dissolve all of that epoxy glue, and I don't want to trust heating this stone at all, so I'm going to put it into some acetone here, into this jar, and let it soak for the next day or so. And then we'll see in a day or so what it looks like. There we are, and we'll check on it another day. Okay, I did finish this stone, but it's not the greatest, because you can see this side here. That's where the cleavage is getting ready to snap. But it held together, and if I be careful, it might be all right. But there it is. might say, well, if it's not worth a lot in the end, which fluorite really isn't, not this quality anyway, why did I do this to begin with? And the reason is, why not? Because it's always good to try something different, and it's hard to do, so I get some experience on cutting unusual and odd material with a soft hardness. So that's why I did it. It's really not worth too much. I gave about $5 for this gemstone in the rough crystal shape like it was. But there it is, mostly green. Most of the purple is not there to be seen a little bit, but I'm just glad I was able to finish it and it didn't come apart on me. But who knows, it could at any time this piece could come off. So I've got to treat it real careful and not handle it very much.